Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris wants to hike taxes by trillions of dollars, which will without a doubt crush our sputtering economy. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has a better idea: lower taxes and take a mash sheet to government spending. The former president, speaking recently at the Economics Club in New York, promised that if he wins in November, he will create a government efficiency commission to root out fraud and improper payments, and that Elon Musk has agreed to head up the effort. Asking the smartest man on the planet to streamline our bloated, inefficient, and unaccountable federal government, slated to spend $7 trillion next year, is the kind of out-of-the-box idea that helped Trump win in 2016 and could sway voters again this November. 2/3 of Americans think they pay too much in taxes. If they knew how much of their tax money was wasted or outright stolen, they might revolt. In 2022, some $47 billion of Medicare payments were found to be improper, while Congress is determined that as much as $500 billion of COVID relief money was likely stolen. Billions are misspent each year on community grants that end up in wealthy communities, maintaining thousands of empty buildings owned by Uncle Sam or funding duplicative and useless federal programs. There are currently, for instance, 43 job training programs across 9 federal agencies that cost taxpayers almost $20 billion per year. One study conducted in 2022 by the Department of Labor concluded that the programs provided zero benefit to workers. Unfortunately, legislators win credit for starting up new programs. No one is applauded for shutting one down. A watchdog group called Citizens Against Government Waste has identified 543 specific expenditures across the federal bureaucracy that could be reduced or eliminated to save taxpayers $402.3 billion in the first year and $4 trillion over 5 years. There is, in short, plenty of low-hanging fruit. Musk is all in, telling an audience recently, if Trump wins, we do have an opportunity to do kind of a once-in-a-lifetime deregulation and reduction in the size of the government. He added, America is going bankrupt extremely quickly. The interest payments on the national debt just exceeded the defense budget. Tesla's founder is right. Though the liberal media has largely ignored the mountainous debt piled up under the Biden-Harris administration and the resulting ratings downgrade of our treasury bonds, the damage done by unprecedented reckless spending is undeniable. Higher prices for groceries, cars, and electricity brought on by too much money flooding the economy have cost every American family dearly. The high interest rates engineered by the Federal Reserve to bring inflation down have made home ownership unaffordable for millions. Vice President Harris is wrong. We don't need more tax revenues. The government's income, running at roughly 17% of GDP, is in line with historical norms. Our problem is with spending, which is running above 23% of GDP, higher than the historical average of 20%, and is unsustainable. There is another dangerous aspect of out-of-control government spending. It creates enormous opportunity for theft, partisanship, and outright waste. When taxpayers hear that Democrat stalwart John Podesta, as the New York Times describes him, was handed $370 billion under the Inflation Reduction Act to fund green energy projects, they should be on high alert. The liberal media has jubilantly reported that much of the announced spending from the Biden climate czar has gone to Republican-led districts, but really the handouts have largely landed in swing states like Arizona and North Carolina, which could decide this year's election. Nothing like starting up an EV battery plant in Georgia to curry favor with local voters. Our government is arguably broken. Last December, the Pentagon, which accounts for roughly half the government's discretionary spending, failed its 6th annual audit in a row. The General Accountability Office, GAO, reported they could not accurately evaluate at least 46% of the DoD's total assets and at least 72% of the DoD's total budgetary resources. Earlier this year, the Pentagon's Inspector General reported that the U.S. had been unable to track more than $1 billion in weapons and military gear sent to Ukraine. Despite White House denials, many assume the high-tech material was stolen. The federal government employs some 250,000 civilians and about the same number of military personnel, according to the Congressional Budget Office. The vast majority of civilians are protected by civil service rules and regulations. In addition, some 750,000 workers belong to a union, the American Federation of Government Employees. Consequently, it is extremely difficult to fire anyone. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more news updates. Hit subscribe for latest news.